Right here, we have 300 grams of white home baking flour, just a regular flour you can get in the supermarket. We have 1 tablespoon of white sugar and a 1/4 tablespoon of salt. We have 1 tablespoon of baking powder. Right? We have 125 ml of milk, just the normal milk. We have 1 tablespoon of yeast. Here we have 1 egg, and here we have 125 milliliters of melted butter. Now, for the flour, I already sieved it, and the reason for that sieving, the reason we sieve this flour is so that you can move any air bubbles or any hard particles or any solid particles, so you can make your cinnamon rolls more fluffy and easier and more softer to eat. So here we go. So we're going to take our white flour and mix in the sugar and the salt. And we're going to also mix in the baking powder. Okay, put this aside. So you mixed up very well so that everything is well mixed together. Give it a good mix so the sugar and the baking powder are all spread out. There's no concentration of baking powder in one spot. Okay, that's good enough. So once we're done with that, we'll take our butter. This is melted butter. Then you mix in the milk. Remember, it's 125 milliliters. Then the yeast. And finally, the egg. So give this a good mix with a whisk if you have one. So the yeast is well distributed evenly. Mix it up all very well. You can see it's becoming finer and finer. Everything is mixed up. I'll do it about maybe a minute or two. Constant stirring, not too fast and not too slow, just regular speed. Okay. Now when that's done, you fold in your flour. So all you do is just mix it up a little bit at a time, like that. Fold it in, so you don't have any part which is so much concentrated with the flour. It is all evenly mixed up. Just do it a little bit at a time. Be patient. Like that. In baking, patience is the key. And your ingredients have to be accurate. When you come to learn about pastry and baking, you know that measurement is key. Any deviation, and you can't really repair it. Not like the hot kitchen where you can add some water or add some stock and repair a dish which is you messed up. Here, once it's in the oven, it's going to be too late for correction. So you keep on adding it. Some people like to mix by hand. Today I'm using a spatula. You see the consistency? Okay, let's put in the rest. It's becoming a bit thick now, so I think here at this point we can switch to manual. Don't be afraid to get your hands dirty. Let's let it. Just keep letting it. You get a nice, even, and consistent dough. So what we can do now, we can remove it and finish it on the table. Just fold it in over and over and over again. Keep turning it over. You can smell the yeast already working in the dough to make it rise. So roll it about into a little ball. Now this is going to settle for 1 hour, so the yeast can keep working in it and permeating through the whole mixture so it can rise. So we're going to cover this with some glad wrap and let it rest for 1 hour. We'll be back. I can see the dough has risen to almost double its the size it was before. So at this point now what we're going to do, we're going to remove the dough nicely. Don't leave any inside the bowl. Yeah, remove everything that's remaining. So this is what it looks like. It should have a sticky, softish texture. Yeah. Now I've lightly dusted the table so that it doesn't stick too much on the table. Now what we're going to do, we're going to roll this flat out onto the table. Just lightly dust the table so it doesn't stick to the surface. Lightly dust it, both sides, lightly. Now we're ready for rolling. So what we want to do is create strips, a flat rectangular like dough, so it will be easy to cut. Lightly dust the Try and make it as even as possible. Don't turn it over like chapati. Because we want long strips. Okay. Like that. Just evenly and firmly roll it out. Okay, so here we are. We've cut our dough into a rectangular shape. Doesn't have to be perfect, but you can see the kind of shape we're looking for, and it's even, it's flat, and it looks nice. You can see it doesn't stick to the bottom because we lightly dusted the table. What we're going to do now, I'm going to take my ruler. This is what I use for the kitchen for measurement, so that you can at least get some accurate equal size shapes. And normally I cut 1.5 inches. Yeah, and just mark it 1.5 inches strips across. We're going to cut across in 1.5 strips. So let's see how many we'll get there. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and a little bit for extra. So what we're going to do now, we're going to cut across evenly. That's 1 strip. That's 2. That's 3. That's 4. That's 5. That's 6. That's 7. That's 8. There you go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and a small one. So basically you have nice, good size, 8 nice, good size cinnamon rolls, and a little one. Okay, so now we have our 8 strips of dough, well cut and now ready for the filling. For the filling, I'm using Meridian organic molasses, as you can see right there. And also at the same time, I have 1.5 tablespoons of cinnamon and 2 tablespoons of sugar. This is what's going to make the filling. So the molasses is really just to make the sugar and the cinnamon stick onto the dough. So this is how we're going to do it. Now you can use this brush or this. Either one is up to you. I prefer this one because it's easier for me to. I like the bristles are a bit harder than this. This is a bit soft. I think this is silicone. So let's use this brush. Now, if you don't have molasses or you don't want to use molasses, you can use brown sugar. You can just lightly coat the dough with an egg mix. Yeah. Then you can sprinkle the sugar on top. I'm using molasses, so here we go. Just lightly brush it. Like a painter. Make sure they're all well covered. With this kind of brush, you might get some hairs. You have to be careful to look at if there's any. If it leaves any hair behind, you need to pick it out with a fork or a knife. So far, so good. Okay. I like molasses because it's a healthy, natural product. It's better than white sugar, health-wise. Also gives the rolls a nice taste and a nice color. There we go. Remember to pick out any hairs. I can see one here. Just touch it and it should come off easily. There we go. Next, we're going to take our sugar and cinnamon mix. Remember, 1.5 tablespoons of cinnamon and 2 tablespoons of white sugar. So you just sprinkle it lightly, and you should see it just sticks naturally because of the molasses. Okay. How much you put is up to you. If you don't like too much sugar, you can put less. You can opt not to put any sugar at all, it's up to you. But remember, this is the dessert, and desserts are often sweet, not taken in excess. That's why they come at the end of the meal. If you have some sugar left, you can go over the parts maybe you missed. Like I can see I've missed some spots here. So when you bite in it, you have an even taste of sugar and cinnamon. There we go. Now the next step is to roll them. So all you do is come to the end and roll it like you're rolling a carpet. Yeah, slowly, slowly, slowly. them evenly till you get something like this. Put it aside. Second one. Alright, so this is what our rolls look like. We're almost there. So what you're going to do, you're going to flatten these rolls. Okay? So we take them one by one, place them like that. Take your right hand and just make a depression. Flatten them out. Yeah? As you round them. Can you see? This is what it should look like. Because remember, they're gonna expand. When you bake them, they're gonna become more bigger because of the yeast. Okay? I'm gonna make them very flat, it's up to you. The flatter, the bigger they're gonna be. Okay? Make sure you tuck in the hanging sides. The next one, do the same thing. That brown you see is the cinnamon and the molasses and the sugar. Okay. Make it nice and even around. Third one, do the same. Just flatten it out with your fingers. It makes a nice, even round shape. Try and make them the same size. Okay. Just use your eyes to measure. Okay, so here we have our 9 cinnamon rolls. Looking very nice. So now, the last thing we got to do for the finishing is called the glaze. It's what gives them the shine. Yeah, you see in cinnamon rolls when they're in the shops or in the bakery, in the pastry section, they have a shine on it. That's what we're going to do right now. It's called the glaze. So we're gonna do, I've beaten 1 egg here, lightly. It's good to use a fly whisk because you beat the egg evenly, you will not leave any strings. When you're doing the egg wash, there'll be no stringy egg left over. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna add 1 cupful of vanilla essence for taste. So the egg is for the glaze, for the shine, and the vanilla is for the taste. So let's beat that together, but whisk it slightly. So the vanilla essence is totally incorporated into the egg. There we go. Next we take our brush. Make sure they're all covered evenly. With a nice shine. Now our rolls are ready for the oven. We're going to do 180 degrees for 10 minutes. Make sure that you preheat your oven for 15 minutes first before you put these inside. And depending on how new or old your oven is, this is a fairly new oven. It's about 2-3 months old. So it normally takes a bit faster. But the trick is to make sure that they are golden brown, not burnt. When they start getting burnt, you know that you've overdone them. So I'm giving you an average of 10 minutes at 180 degrees. On top heat. That means the top burner should be on. Not the bottom one, the top. So here we are. We're finally done with our beautiful cinnamon rolls. You can see how beautiful they look. And you can see the cinnamon in between the rolls, yeah? And the molasses and the sugar is trapped in the, remember we rolled it up like a spiral, yeah, like a carpet. So all that is just trapped in between, full of flavor. Then we gave it a nice glaze with the egg yolk, with the vanilla extract. So you can see, I'm sure they taste lovely. And the final thing now is finishing. So I want to show you what I like to do on my cinnamon rolls. You can use something else, any other topping. But this is what I do. I take some icing sugar and I mix it with some water. And I make kind of like a mix. Yeah, so it looks like it has like a gluey texture. Yeah, not too runny. And I put it in a paper bag like this, a transparent. So what I do here, I just nip the very end. I make a very, very tiny cut at the end, so that not too much comes out. And then I lightly glaze the roll. You can use whichever design you like. Yeah, lightly glaze it. Yeah. Because remember, we didn't use too much sugar. We used only a teaspoon of sugar, a tablespoon of sugar at the beginning. So for those with sweet tooth, they will like this. The yeast also gives it a kind of a tangy flavor. So you mix that tanginess with the sugar and the cinnamon, you know, it comes out really nice. So that's all you do. Just lightly give it a glaze. Yeah, and we're done. The last thing, if you like a topping, I like to use coconut. Yeah, so let's sprinkle some coconut on there. Not too much. Remember, you can use whatever topping you like. For example, for kids, you can use sprinkles. You can also use a little bit of coconut there. So there we go. Beautiful, easy to make at home cinnamon rolls. You can do this for your kids, you can do this for your family. It doesn't take long, it doesn't take even an hour. Cooking time is like 10 minutes or less. And you have a nice snack or a breakfast or a dessert if you like. So if you like this video, please give it a like. Also leave your comments down below. Tell us what you think. And subscribe if you want us to continue putting out these kind of videos, teaching you how to cook simple things for the house at a very low cost. We'd appreciate. So until next time, thank you for watching.